What's going on, gang? Sheepy here, and today I'm gonna talk to y'all about the new Peroxide. So we got quite a bit to work with here, and overall I'd say we got some good changes. There are a couple that I'm like, I don't know if this was necessary, but overall I think this update is gonna be a net positive. So let's start off first. Ryatsu Crystal of Reap now has a 10-second global cooldown. I think this is a huge change because I personally believe that Reap does have the potential to break the game if it gets too powerful. If you don't know, Crystal of Reap, what it allows you to do is it puts these spikes in your opponent which last about like 10-15 seconds or so. And in that time period, you cannot heal under any circumstance. That includes going into your second mode, Quincy Heart, and any form of like a healing ability. Now it does not apply to Vasta Rage, which is a little weird, but I mean technically Vasta Rage, you're dying and then going to that form, so it kind of makes sense. But overall, I think this is a very positive change. I don't think it needs to be any stronger, and honestly, I don't think it actually hurts using the crystal that much. It just means you really shouldn't have it on more than one move. The next change is M2 push block / counter no longer stuns the user and now only makes it so they can't dash for about 0.3 seconds. This doesn't feel like it's going to make that big of a change. Let's move on. White Singularity can no longer be move stacked with stun. Alright, so that is a nerf for duality, so that is going to suck. So I don't think that's that unfair, because to be fully honest with you, I actually learned about move stacking very recently, and it doesn't necessarily, I can't tell if it's supposed to be a part of the game or not. It almost feels like it's a glitch, which it's pretty cool, so I hope they don't take it out altogether. So this isn't like my favorite change, since I also do want to try out duality at some point, but I can see why they would take that out. Muse Beats red buff no longer increases the user's strength, only spirit now. Also patched a memory leak with the move. I'm about to say right now, I'm biased. I think strength music is one of the most toxic builds in the game. I think this is a good change. I don't see there was no real reason to increase strength if music is supposed to be a spirit element. I feel like it takes away from the element's identity. And playing more into an identity of an element is always going to be a positive change in my opinion. Also with music, a bass drop can no longer be purposefully bounced in place on the same spot. It can now hit targets more than 3 times, has proper startup stun, and no longer nerfed in Segunda boss fight. Yeah, this also just sounds like it's trying to cut back on the whole strength music meta. Right, trying to keep it more tame. I can see where they're coming from with that. Son, another nerf. They are killing music. Yo, if y'all using music, my condolences. Sonic Boombox now has proper startup stun. This definitely is a nerf, but let's be real. This is clearly a bug fix if it didn't have proper startup stun before. Now we get into one of, in my opinion, the best elements in the game. And I didn't even know this wasn't a thing, but Vessel Segunda's uppercut is now 360 blockable. I assume that means that the hitbox on the uppercut would sometimes hit behind people, because that doesn't make 100% sense to me for something to be 360 blockable, but knowing how big the hitbox on it, I can see it. It makes sense. Fixed sometimes being able to move stack during Vessel Segunda's push block / counter. I feel like that's going to be a recurring thing for Vessel nerfs in the future, because they are the most egregious users of move stacking in this game in my experience. And that's just from what I've seen. I could be wrong. Vessel Segunda's dash passive, Mesenga, no longer has damage drop off for chaining, so that's actually a little bit of a buff, which I don't know if Vessel needs it, but hey, I think Vessel is sick. I'm making a Vessel at some point, I just gotta get another slot, so hey, you know what? Screw it, buff Vessel. False clones now properly copy outfit accessories and outfits. Finally! I've been asking for this for months. It's so detrimental to clone as an element if you can just be like, oh, they have a completely different outfit. Well, I guess I know who it isn't. And also, it kind of, if you're a clone user, it really holds you back in what accessories you can use, because it will give you an innate disadvantage. This is a huge fix for me. I'm very glad they did this. Clone's Bankai clone duration passive is now removed. The false clones passive is untouched. I'm not a big fan of this change. I already felt like clone didn't have the strongest of passive, and now it has one less. I don't fully agree with that decision. I could see them replacing it with something, but straight up taking it out is a little rough. Rock Scatter inside the gravity field is no longer dual scaling. I have mixed feelings about this one. If you're a strength gravity user, no, you ain't anymore. They doing you a little dirty with this one. But honestly, I do think gravity is in need of some nerfs, but I'm not sure if this is the direction I was looking at. Then again, maybe it doesn't need some nerfs, 'cause I'm learning how to just block when I'm inside the field more. So, we'll see how this pans out. If you're a strength gravity user, my condolences. 1000 birds base damage increased from 14 to 20, minimum 100% to 75%, and maximum 500% to 400% scaling, with targets missing health decreased. Yo, I just realized that Lightning's ultimate is a reference to Naruto. That's crazy. Alright, this right here, man. I'm not happy with this change. This is the one change that I'm like, they should not have done. Ryatsu Crystal of Prodigy no longer affects Wizard Mask. So if you don't know, before, if you put Prodigy on your mask, what it would do would make it last, I believe, a whole minute longer, which is phenomenal. Considering that Wizard Mask nerfs you, and obviously it gives you more time to work with for Vasto Rage, or more time where you had the opportunity of going into Vasto Rage. This is really going to hurt Soul Reapers, and I still believe that Wizard Mask, just as a whole, shouldn't be as much of a nerf, or it should even be somewhat of a buff, because you gotta work real hard to get it. So I am aware that Vasto Rage is a huge advantage. So, that's unfortunate, but I kind of see where they're coming from. Flag of Resolve's actual cooldown doesn't start until the flag is destroyed. Easier to cancel if the user gets stunned. Increased end lag from 0.5 to 0.6 seconds. And you can reuse the skill to end it early and remove the maximum health scaling, but modify the passive drain of the flag. I don't think it's gonna make that big of a change. Optimization with certain accessories as well as the physics of certain animated accessories gonna make the game look better than easy. That's always a good thing. Attempted to fix Counter-Strike, sometimes voiding all stun when activated. Oh, I think I know what this is talking about. Okay, that's actually really interesting. So if y'all don't know, and y'all might not have known this because this was like a secret tech that a lot of people was keeping under wraps. But what you used to be able to do, and this is I believe what they're trying to patch out, when you used Counter-Strike, if you used a move right after, you could ignore all the stun. Like, it would do the effect of Counter-Strike and ignore the startup of any move. For example, and this is a really strong example, Chaos Ultimate. So you could do Counter-Strike and immediately use your Chaos Flash, and then you could combo them long enough where that you could hit them into the Flash, and it was insanely overpowered. I've never been hit, actually I have been hit by it myself in a private arena, but if that, bro, that was game breaking, 1000%. It was kind of cool though, I'm not gonna lie. I've never done it though, unfortunately. Speaking of Chaos, Sickle of Destruction no longer activates if blocked. I don't feel like this is a nerf or a buff either way. In one sense, it's going to be a little harder to tell when they use the move, since it won't have the particles going up. But I also don't think it's hard to see, because you see a giant scythe. So I don't feel too strongly about this change. Hell Spirit tick damage decreased from 1.5 to 1. Cooldown increased from 48 seconds to 50. Oh, that is unfortunate. It looks like that is a forest change. I'm not gonna lie, I did have to look that one up. I used to think forest was broken, but I've come to realize very recently how slow it is, and this is definitely unfortunate. If you are a forest user, my condolences. And I gotta break some news for you, this isn't where it ends. Winds of the Forest tick damage is also decreased from 0.46 to 0.45. That doesn't sound like that big of a deal. Targets hit now get iframes throughout the entire move, and added extra checks for if the target leaves a radius to not hit anymore. I've been told by one of my viewers, shout out to Kai for my chat, that this means their biggest combo is no longer going to work. So again, if you are a forest user, my condolences, bro, they're doing you dirty. Improved logic for dummies in private arenas, that's a little bug fix, and miscellaneous bug fixes, so can't hurt. They're finally fixing the bug with Torno Kyora's fit where you would lose your arms. That's way overdue, because it felt like it would punish you for having a rare item. a bunch of bug fixes. You can finally now, if you want to reroll your Volt Standing wings, you can or the color of your wings, you can finally use Product Essence. And then my favorite change, baby. Chaos Flash damage now depends on how close to the center of the beam the target is. Bro, me for my wedding day versus me for Chaos's downfall. We up, chat, we up. I said, chat, I'm recording, I ain't even live, but bro. Woohoo! Fuck Chaos! Now, do I have a Chaos slot? Maybe, but like, we don't gotta talk about that right now. If y'all enjoyed this video, drop a like, drop a sub, and come out to the stream sometime. Twitch.tv/sheepytg if you want to see me live, see these games live, and hey, become a part of the flock today. And as always, y'all, have yourself a damn good day, night, morning, whatever it may be. I'll see y'all when I see y'all.